And I married someone that was, I always tell guys when they meet a woman.
At 75, Jay Leno sits in his Burbank garage surrounded by the hum of old engines, the same sound that's followed him through decades of fame, fortune, and fire. For most of his life, Leno was Hollywood's nice guy, clean jokes, family values, loyal husband. But now, as he cares for his wife Mavis, who is battling dementia, Jay admits that one of the longest-running rumors about him wasn't entirely false. For over 40 years, he denied ever having an affair. Now, he says, the truth is partially true. His upcoming memoir, due in late 2025, promises to reveal what really happened and who it involved. After decades of polished punchlines, America's favorite host is finally ready to drop the mask. Jay Leno was born on April 28, 1950, in New Rochelle, New York. His childhood home was filled with two things: hard work and humor. His Scottish mother, Catherine, filled the house with lullabies and stories, while his father, Angelo, an insurance salesman, filled it with fast-talking ambition. Catherine came to America at just 11 years old with no English, but she had grit. Angelo once drove through 3 states in a single day to meet his quota. Jay grew up watching them work and perform, and by age 7, he was already imitating his father's sales pitches for neighborhood kids, charging nickels for the show. He learned early that charm could pay bills, and laughter could open doors. But Jay wasn't the teacher's favorite. He struggled terribly in school, constantly mixing up letters and words. His teachers thought he was slow, not knowing he had dyslexia. He repeated grades, got detention after detention, and was even told to drop out. But Jay turned mockery into motivation. He started writing jokes every night, reading them backward just to train his mind. When he got suspended for playing a fake teacher layoff announcement on the school PA, it became legend. And Jay realized that comedy, not conformity, was his real gift. By his teens, Jay was juggling pizza deliveries with open mic dreams. He'd drive his old Dodge around Andover, timing himself to deliver in under 20 minutes. And in between, he practiced punchlines in the mirror. At 16, he traded 2 pizzas for 5 minutes on stage at a college party. His first paid gig, earning $22 in tips. From that moment, the stage became his second home. But not every performance went well. At a YMCA talent show, he tried imitating his idol Rodney Dangerfield, only to get booed off stage when cold cream melted under the spotlight, making him look like a clown. He vowed never to copy anyone again. From that day on, Jay Leno would only tell his own jokes. In 1969, Leno got into Emerson College in Boston. He majored in speech therapy, but spent most nights performing in clubs. One night, a fellow comic stole one of his jokes, and the two ended up brawling in the parking lot. Jay chipped a tooth in the fight, a scar that gave him the signature chin-forward look that became part of his image. After graduation, he packed a rusty Chevy and $350 and drove to Los Angeles. He slept on couches, worked topless bars for $40 a night, and was once banned from the Comedy Store for being too clean. But Jay kept pushing. In 1975, he made his first appearance on The Tonight Show. It was supposed to be 5 minutes, but Johnny Carson cut him short. Furious, Leno confronted Carson backstage, a bold move for a young comic. The tension between the two would simmer for years. Still, by the late 1980s, Jay had built a reputation as one of America's sharpest stand-ups, tireless, driven, and clean enough for every audience. In 1976, everything changed. Jay met Mavis Nicholson at the Comedy Store, near a broken urinal of all places. They hit it off instantly. When she told him her birthday was September 5th, Jay laughed. Every woman he dated had the same birthday. September 5th. They started dating, and in 1980 they got married. Mavis didn't want kids, and Jay respected that. Their marriage was built on loyalty, not traditional romance. something that would matter deeply decades later when Mavis was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Professionally, Jay's big break came in 1986 when NBC made him the regular guest host for Johnny Carson. But behind the scenes, Jay was quietly maneuvering to take Carson's seat. In 1992, he succeeded, but the move shattered friendships. Everyone expected David Letterman to be Carson's successor. Even Carson himself wanted Letterman to take over. When NBC chose Leno, the fallout was brutal. Carson never mentioned him again, and Letterman left NBC, launching a ratings war that defined late-night television for decades. Jay was now seen as a man who'd do anything to win. Over the years, Jay Leno's nice guy image began to crack. His manager, Helen Kushnick, was accused of blacklisting stars who didn't appear on The Tonight Show. NBC forced Leno to fire her or lose his job. He chose the show, and it saved his career. By the mid-1990s, he was America's king of late night, using scandals like O.J. Simpson's trial and Hugh Grant's arrest to fuel massive ratings. His question to Grant, "What the hell were you thinking?" became one of the most watched moments in talk show history. But success came at a cost. Behind the laughter, Jay was battling rivals, lawsuits, and whispers about his personal life. When NBC announced Conan O'Brien would take over in 2009, Jay publicly supported him, while secretly negotiating his own 10 p.m. show that nearly ruined Conan's career. When Leno returned to The Tonight Show months later, the public saw him differently, no longer the humble comic, but the ruthless survivor. After his final farewell in 2014, Jay shifted gears. Literally. He devoted himself to his true love, cars. His show, Jay Leno's Garage, became a hit, showcasing his 180 cars and 160 motorcycles. But his obsession came with danger. In 2022, while working on a 1907 steam car, gasoline ignited his face, leaving him with severe burns. Just weeks later, he was back on stage joking. 2 shows tonight, regular and extra crispy. Months later, a motorcycle crash broke several bones, and in 2024, he fell 60 feet down a hill, showing up to perform that same night. Friends say Jay can't stop chasing the rush of performance, even when it nearly kills him. Through it all, one thing has remained constant: Mavis. When her Alzheimer's worsened, Jay went to court for legal control over her care. He feeds her, carries her, and helps her remember who he is. Sometimes she doesn't, but Jay stays beside her, telling stories and playing memory games. He says it's the hardest thing he's ever done, harder than losing a show or surviving a fire. Now, as Jay Leno writes his memoir, he says he's ready to tell everything, including the truth about the affair rumor that's shadowed him for 40 years. He hints it involved someone more important than anyone ever knew. For a man who built his legacy on loyalty, the revelation could shake Hollywood to its core. But for Jay Leno, maybe it's time to stop being the nice guy and finally tell the real story.